Delta Force is a brand new FPS that hopes to bring the intensity of the Battlefield games and couple it with the tension that comes with extraction shooters like Tarkov. Delta Force was created by Team Jade from Teamy Studio Group, who's well known for creating other games like Call of Duty Mobile and Assault Fire, which is actually the #1 shooter in China for the last 10 years. Their goal is to bring that same success, that same hype over here to North America and the West. Can they do it? Is this game worth playing? Or is it just a Tarkov Battlefield knockoff? In this video, we'll discuss. Let's go. The first thing you'll notice about this game when you boot up is how polished it is. This game looks really good. From the gun models, the character models, their surroundings, loaded into the game, loading out. Overall, the presentation is a 10 out of 10. In fact, the graphics are so good that I feel that some lower-end computers might actually have a little bit of trouble running it. When it comes to the controls, the way it feels, the way it sounds, the overall presentation, the overall vibe of the game, it's all really, really good. Now, the beta they released is only 2 sections. You can play the extraction format or you can play the rush style format that mimics Battlefield. Now, we'll start with the extraction mode, which most people seem to be playing here off the start. Extraction games like Tarkov or DMZ from Call of Duty, these game types focus around the idea that you're going to go into a certain area, a certain part of the map, get high value items, and then extract. But the catch is, whatever you take in there, you're at risk of losing if you die. So if you load into a match and you have all your best items, all your best weapons on you, and you die, when you get back to your home base, they're all gone. For some people, this will be a massive learning curve in understanding what to take out and what to keep back at home. We all know we want to go out and play with our favorite items every single time, but if you're going into solos with no friends and you take out your favorite weapon and your favorite items, your team's going to leave you, you're probably going to run into another group of players, not AI, and you're going to lose everything. The extraction game itself is actually pretty fun. Now, it's not quite as hardcore as Tarkov, where they literally give you no information, they just kind of put you out there and let you go. It seems like this version of extraction is much more for the masses, for the common person. This game mode genuinely holds your hand and points you in every direction you need to go. And when you load into these extraction game types, you can either come across AI players or actual other user players. Now, let me tell you, the difference in between the two is massive. And that's not to say these AIs can't kill you, they definitely can. But you will know immediately when you come across a real player. And I've already seen a lot of complaints about how people don't like the idea that you go across an AI, let your guard down, and then you come across a real person and then die quickly because you thought it was another AI. This is something games like Fortnite and PUBG have had issues with, where they have so many bots in the game that sometimes you don't think it's a real person, you let your guard down, and all of a sudden you just get destroyed. One of the issues I did find while playing the extraction mode was that it just didn't feel all that tense, all that scary. Almost every one of my channel's viewers is not subscribed to the channel. Do me a huge favor and hit that subscription button. We're trying to get monetized. My dog and I know one of the biggest selling points of Tarkov is how intense, how much tension is in every single game. You truly fear for your life and everything in your inventory. But with Delta Force, it just didn't really feel all that high stakes. I kind of just loaded in, went into fight, and if I died, I didn't really care and went back into battle. Overall, the extraction mode is a lot of fun. It introduces a lot of new mechanics that could help the mainstream audience come and play. But the problem is here, I just don't think this game type is still fast enough to allure the mass audience. Streamers who are used to playing high-paced games like Fortnite or Call of Duty are going to have some trouble translating this to their audience, as their audiences are just not used to this much time in between battles. As for the community, I did do a lot of fills, I matched with a lot of random people, and I'll be honest, I met a lot of really cool people. It seems like the community that's building around this game is already super positive and super friendly, and that's a major W. Now, as for the rush mode that mimics Battlefield, this mode is a ton of fun. The graphics are most definitely better than anything Battlefield has ever put out. The sound effects, the hit markers, the vibe of it all, it really does seem to be awesome. Now, the question is this a Battlefield knockoff? And the reality is, it kind of is, there's no denying. From the perspective you take after you die, when you zoom in on the person that eliminated you, to the spawning points, to the weapons, to the overall vibe, I mean, it's very hard to get away from the idea that this game feels very similar. And the reality is, there's only so many ways you can do these things, so many ways you can structure them. And at the end of the day, we just want to play the game that works and feels the best. Which is not to say that's a bad thing, because Battlefield is one of the most popular franchises out there. There aren't many games that have hit the highs that Battlefield has, but also at the same time, not many games who have seen the lows they currently have. And I did have a ton of fun playing this game mode. I love the idea that when you charge the next area, all your men scream, which again, I think also does happen in Battlefield. I love the idea that you can access all types of vehicles, and they all do handle really well. Although the helicopter might take you a little bit of time to get the hang of, I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling with that. However, that's not to say there are gonna be moments where you think to yourself, wait, this is why I stopped playing Battlefield, this is why I moved on. This thought process happens happens anytime you play older game franchises like Call of Duty or Halo. You find yourself dying in some stupid way by someone spawning behind you or something not working correctly, and then you remember the same way you felt when you were like 14 to 16 years old. It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm tired of this. And that is something that unfortunately this game falls into. If you're already fatigued of Battlefield games, you're going to have no interest in this because, again, this is pretty much redoing the same thing, rehashing what we've already seen. You're going to be in the middle of the battle and someone's going to spawn behind you and shoot you and you're going to get frustrated. That's just part of the game. That's like being third party in a battle royale. You just have to accept that's part of the experience. One of the cons that I thought might be worth mentioning was just how ridiculous the sniping was. When you load into one of these games, there's two maps to be able to play. One of them is this wide open, kind of in the mountains, across some plains terrain, and then the other is more of a desert city kind of push. But when you're in these open plains, freaking everybody is sniping, bro, and it kind of takes away from the overall game. Sometimes it makes you wonder if there should be a maximum amount of players that can be sniping. When you have 20 of your 32 players all just sniping, it makes it very difficult not only to win, but to have a good time. Because the players that are on the front lines fighting the other team who has actual people using machine guns, you're just going to get overrun because you have 25 of their players going up against your 10. That's why having a lot of friends playing the same game on the same team is so beneficial in games like this. If you have 8 players working together against a team of 32 who are just all doing their own things, that 8 players, those 2 squads can absolutely change the direction of the game. I did have a lot of fun. I found myself logging on the next day to get a couple rounds in because, again, the game plays really well, it sounds really well, it looks really well, it should do really well. The only question is, are we fatigued of this game type? Do we need another Extraction? Do we need another Battlefield? But one thing this game will offer that none of the others have is the campaign. This game has the rights to the Black Hawk Down story that we saw in the book by Mark Bowden or the movie we saw in the early 2000s, and we'll be able to tell that same story. That in itself is going to be a major sell to a lot of people. That movie, that story is held very dearly to heart by many veterans, by people that remember that history. And I'll be honest, I might consider getting this game just for the campaign, as that story was so intense, so powerful, that had such an impact on me as a kid. This game honestly has depth to it that could make it stand out against its peers, but at the same time, it also mimics so much of what they're doing that it might not stand out enough. But maybe this campaign can help it do so. What are your thoughts? Have you played yet? Have you given it a chance? Have you ever played Battlefield? Have you ever played Tarkov? Am I over-exaggerating? Is this really not that much of a knockoff? Let me know. Alright, that's enough yapping for today. As always, hit that subscription button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.
Put me in. It's okay.
No objective assigned.
Put me in. It's holy shit, this thing is loud. Daddy likes. Oh, he's coming for me. He's coming for me. He's coming for me. That's what I'm talking about.
And if you enjoyed this video, think about watching either of these videos that's on the screen.